How's it going, everybody? I've got some more Magic for you today with a Sultai Roots deck. So, main play off this, obviously, is Insidious Roots. We've got a few new cards that are really nice for playing Sultai in this, primarily being the Kishla Skimmer. This card is fantastic in this kind of a deck because whether you're pulling a creature or otherwise from your graveyard, any card from your graveyard, it gives you a draw trigger, which is really nice. I've combined that with a few staple cards as well as a few that you're probably familiar with. We also have another new one here with the land, the Great Irration City. Enters tapped unless you control a forest or a plains, taps for black mana, and if you pay 2 and tap it, you can exile a creature card from your graveyard and create a 1/1 white spirit creature token. This is really fantastic in this deck as well, because if you have no other outlet out on the battlefield at the time, you can use this to trigger Insidious Roots, get tokens additional to the plant tokens that you're going to be generating. We've got Tyvar, pretty staple, like I said, very common in this type of a deck. Enables you to really pop off with all of your plant tokens as soon as they come out and use them as mana, as well as the Molt Tender, because it also affects it, allowing it to go immediately despite summoning sickness, allowing you to tap for mana while exiling creatures from your graveyard or milling cards. I do have Agatha's Soul Cauldron in this as a 2-of. If you have Agatha's Soul Cauldron out on the field and exile, say for example, a Molt Tender or a Scavenging Ooze, then all of your creatures that have 1/1 counters, which would be all of your plant tokens as well as anything that you make stronger with Agatha's Soul Cauldron, all get the ability to do the mill, the tap for mana, the tap to eat a creature from a graveyard and gain you 1 life. Really fantastic abilities there. We've got Overlord of the Bailmark, a really fantastic card in a Roots deck because it lets you, even whether you're impending it for 2 or paying 5 to play it as a creature, it gives you the ability to mill the top 4 cards of your library and return a non-avatar creature card or a planeswalker from your graveyard to your hand. So if you pull a creature with it, then you get the Roots trigger. If you pull Tyvar with it, that gives you another outlet to do another bit of mill and potentially grab a creature for Roots triggers. Things that you probably don't see that we get access to because of the blue. Obviously the Kishla Skimmer, like I said, but we're also running the Falagi Archaeologist. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but it's a 2-drop 0/3. When this card or a creature enters, mill 3 cards. You may put a non-creature, non-land card from among the cards milled this way into your hand, and if you don't, you put a 1/1 counter on this creature. So if you hit nothing but land, it becomes a 1/4. That's not really relevant. One of the biggest problems, in my opinion, with Roots decks, especially Golgari Roots decks, is whenever you're milling cards to try and get things into your graveyard, you'll often mill your Insidious Roots. This Archaeologist makes it to where if that is what is milled, you can pull the Insidious Roots from the graveyard back to your hand. Similarly, we also have Cash Grab for the same reason. You mill 4 cards, you put a permanent card from among the cards milled this way into your hand, and if you control a squirrel, return a squirrel card to your hand this way, create a food token. So we're not doing anything food token related with this, but this is another card, since it says permanent and Insidious Roots is an enchantment, you can pull Insidious Roots back from the graveyard to your hand instead of it being removed entirely. So these are 2 outlets that you can use that can potentially get you something. You can't get creatures with the Archaeologist, but it's still really fantastic anyway, since it can get you that Roots back. As well as Cash Grab. Similarly, if you already have Roots out on the battlefield, you can use it to grab a creature from your graveyard. If you don't and you mill a Roots, you can pull the Roots back to your hand with it. So these 2 are really fantastic in this deck because, like I said, you very often, in my opinion, end up milling your Roots when you're trying to dig for it. Because Tyvar and Overlord don't let you pull back permanents, it's just specifically creatures or Planeswalker in the Overlord's case. And then on top of that, we are also running Deadly Brew. This is a good removal card because it forces your opponent to sacrifice a creature or a planeswalker to begin with. So if all they were doing is playing planeswalkers and no creatures in the deck, it's still useful. But even if not, it lets you, if you sacrificed a permanent, you may return another permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. So if you sacrifice a creature when you play this, you can get Roots back from the graveyard that way as well, or you can get a creature triggering Roots. So lots of really good synergy there. I've got Scavenging Ooze, obviously. This is a creature that just by being passively out on the battlefield not only hinders your opponent's graveyard, but also gives you the ability to trigger your roots over and over and over that way. And like I said, if you hit it or Molt Tender with Agatha's Soul Cauldron, then you can give that ability to all of your creatures, essentially. We've got Rubble Belt Maverick, a very common card in this deck, as well as Snarling Gorehound. I'm sure you're familiar with both of these. The Maverick and Gorehound will help you kind of dig through your deck for exactly the cards you want while filling your graveyard, because they have that surveillability. And then once in the graveyard, the Rubble Belt Maverick can be exiled by paying 1 green mana to add a 1/1 counter to any creature. So all really good there. And then I do have a sideboard for this. Obviously, most of the time you'll be playing best of 1, or at least that's what I do with this deck. However, if you do play best of 3, or even if you just want to consider any of these cards as alternative picks in this deck, Haywire Might is fantastic, primarily because it synergizes so well with Agatha's Soul Cauldron as well, giving all of your plant tokens the ability to be sacrificed to destroy enchantments or artifacts. We've got Cut Down in case you need a little extra removal, because there's not a lot in this deck, just the Deadly Brew. If you need target removal, you're going to want these Cut Downs. Go for the Throat similarly. If you're playing up against Control, Duress may be important to you. We do have Armored Scrap Gorger, which is a really good card, specifically for if you're going up against those types of Reanimator decks or graveyard focus decks. This gives you ramp while also letting you hit your graveyard, hit your opponent's graveyard. It's really good. And then we've got Terra Sunder for, again, if you're up against any kind of enchantment or artifact primarily deck where you're running into that more than creatures. Maybe you want to run into, like, switch in all these Haywire Mites and these Terra Sunders just to deal with your opponent's stuff. It can be very helpful when you're going up against decks that do things like Temporary Lockdown or Leyline Binding. So that's something to keep in mind. As far as the land base, we're playing with a pretty interesting little mix match here. I've only got one base island. We've got the new Arashan City, which I think is actually really good, and you could use more of it, but more often than not it enters tapped with the land base that I'm using, so I've only got it as a 1/of. 1 swamp, 2 forests, couple of Dark Slick Shores. That way we get blue or black, and it enters untapped as long as we have 2 or fewer other lands. Similarly, we've got Blooming Marsh for black-green, Llanowar Waste if we want black-green. We've got Botanical Sanctum, which has the 2 or fewer subtext on it as well, with this saps for green or blue. And then 1 Yamaya Coast, in case we want to tap and deal damage to ourselves for green or blue. I've not had any problems with the land so far in this deck, and going with a really aggressive forward land base that isn't very high, like we don't end up drawing more than 2 or 3 land usually in the entirety of a match, and that's fine. I'm not entirely sure how much land did I put in this. Yeah, so this is a 22 land deck. So it's a little bit on the light side, but you don't need much because almost everything is a 1 to 3. Even your Bellmark is technically going to end up as a 2-drop. So your converted mana cost is really looking like this primarily. You don't need much more than 3 land for this deck to be entirely possible to... You could drop your whole hand just from getting the plant tokens and having Tyvar out on the field in 1 turn. So no issues there. Think that covers everything. Got the land, got all the creatures and synergies. You've got the sideboard. I'm gonna go ahead and get into games. I'll be playing 3 best of 1 matches, getting 3 wins for the video, like I usually do. Hopefully you guys enjoy this. This is a really fun deck, and it came together really nicely in my opinion. Alright, let's see what we have here. No green means I don't think I can keep this hand. Looking much better now. I think we'll go ahead and pitch Tyvar for now. And maybe Cash Grab, because we already have a Roots. Just going to start with the city. Or, well, I actually think I'm going to dump the city. Now we've got 2 Roots in hand, can easily dump 1. He should kill my Molt Tender, though I hope he doesn't. It would definitely be in his best interest to do so, though. Yep, there you go. So that means that I do need to draw a land if I want to get Tyvar out. Okay, we'll just pitch a Tyvar here, no big deal. Hopefully we get a land that's untapped. We did not, but we have another Roots we can throw out. We're just going to be waiting for one of those then. One land or creature that can do something with our graveyard, preferably. Okay, they're doing literally nothing. Cool, cool. Just get another Roots out. Gonna get to go wild if we can get even just like one cash grab or anything. That's interesting.
This might finish before brunch. I'm tired of your secrets.
Not really bothered by any of that yet still, just really hoping to get a land or something. And we did, and it will enter untapped because I only have 2 others. So here we go, we finally get to kind of go off. Do a little bit of something at least. Alright, I think I want my ooze in this case. Because I can kind of go crazy with that. We got an archaeologist in here. We'll get it next. So unless he finds a board wipe, we're actually looking pretty fantastic now. Man, I'm all out of creatures in my graveyard, so I'll pass. Did manage to get a little bit of life there too, which was nice. Yep, and they scoop. So this is what I was saying about this deck being able to go kind of crazy really quickly, and a lot of your games will go like this where they just instantly scoop. We've got a 7-8, we've got a 6-7, 5-6, yeah, like an 8-9, 9-10. It was actually not optimal for us to get like 3 Roots in a row, but having 3 means that every one of your triggers 3 times, so all of our creatures went crazy. We've got a 5-5 Scavenging Ooze just by itself, and Tyvar here too, which can next bring these back up if I use them for mana or anything. So in what looked pretty bad at first was actually really good for us, and going up against discard decks is really good for our deck actually, because we can just discard creatures and stuff that we don't want at the time and then potentially go off with like a Scavenging Ooze. Because what we did there was just one Tyvar, got Scavenging Ooze back, and then kept tapping plants to just eat the rest of my graveyard. And I'm up to 15, no fear of dying on this turn, and I could swing out for lethal most likely on my next turn with him only having 1 blocker, and nothing here was going to save him. I don't know what this is, but if it's not a board wipe, he's done. But anyway, really fantastic game 1. I know it was a little quick, but a lot of these games are going to be like that. Hopefully you guys still like it anyway. Alright, I think this looks very usable, so I will keep. Unfortunately, the opponent does get to go first. Let's go ahead. I'll start with my Gorehound. I don't mind that. If it doesn't get killed, we can get a couple Molt Tenders out. I don't mind ditching a Tender. Yeah, I just got another one anyway, so that's not even a big deal. We don't want land. Don't really want that either. Really just looking for Roots now. We'll do Cash Grab next and grab a land if there's one there. And if we have to pitch something, we can pitch Tyvar and get it back with the Overlord. See what he takes. We've still got backup options either way. Okay, he took Tyvar. Not really a big deal. Making me discard. I'll get rid of the Overlord. Okay, we got land. I'm gonna go for Cash Grab. And no roots. Too bad, too bad. Well, let's get Agatha's Soul Cauldron. We can play it by tapping one of these. Just pitch a land. Don't need it. He definitely won't block, right? Yeah, okay. That would be really silly if he did, and I was just waiting to see if it would happen. I've got everything I need on the board now, except for roots. I really need roots coming. But as soon as we do get roots, we can go wild. We already have everything we need. Just waiting to see what they do. They're looking at the Soul Cauldron. They don't quite seem sure on what to do with it yet. Maybe they have something like a cut down and they're trying to figure out if I'll be able to make my creature able to survive it. I don't know. Okay, another talent. I don't even have anything to discard, so that doesn't really do anything. Attack from our opponent. Now let's see what we draw. Hopefully it's something good. Bellmark is usable. I'm okay with that. Let's go ahead and impend it, and we'll grab Tyvar. There's a Roots in the graveyard, though. Is there any way I can get that back? I don't know. Let's go Archaeologist, because if we do that, we might be able to get a Roots. Let's go ahead and just get rid of Botanical. No Roots. I don't mind grabbing another one of those, though. Let's go ahead and attack in. Seems fine. Now, if we get a Caustic Brew into our hand, we can use that to get the roots that are in the graveyard. Okay, looks like our opponent might be hurting on land a little bit. Okay, don't want any of that. Didn't get anything too fantastic, but what I'm going to go ahead and do is eat my Scavenging Ooze and use that to try and better my situation a bit. Because I can eat my creatures to heal, which might be relevant at this point. Would be nice to have roots out, but we might just want to preserve life at this point. So I'm gonna go ahead and eat a little bit. Probably shouldn't have eaten the Molt Tender, could have saved it for something a little better, but it's okay. Oh, we still have one in the graveyard, so we'll save that. Okay, what else do we have in here? Anybody else we can eat? No, so I'm gonna go ahead and just pass. Kishla's not bad, and we can use that to get another draw. I do want that, so we're gonna go ahead and draw it. Let's get this Molt Tender so that we can preserve its abilities. Caustic Brew is fantastic, but we can't get it, unfortunately. Submit there, and then one more. I'm okay with that. Go ahead and attack in with our Hound. We don't have anything we can tap for mana now, so we can't do any more eating at the moment. That sucks because I was really hoping to get my Tyvar. And I don't mind if he kills anything else, because that's just fodder that I can use to feed the rest of my stuff. Okay, no big deal there. Does mean I can't block, which is a little sad, but not really a big deal. Let's see what we draw. Got that. I think that's perfectly fine. Play it. Let's see if we can get something good. I'm going to take Cash Grab and hope to get a Roots. Okay, Roots is on top, so we know we've got Roots available now. No, we don't want a creature at the moment. Just get rid of land. Now we want to play Roots. Now, we've got a little bit more of it here. I'll do this. Go to my graveyard. We'll eat a Scavenging Ooze. Put it there. Go ahead and dump that in the graveyard. Next, let's put the Maverick probably here. These have summoning sickness, don't they? Okay, hold on. Let's go ahead and attack here. And I'm going to set an upkeep stop for my turn. That way I can eat some of my graveyard to heal.
Enough with the mysteries.
Because if I don't, I'll die at this point. Get rid of our things that don't have counters on them, because we need the others for mana. Okay. Not too bad. Not ideal, but not too bad. Alright, now it's my upkeep, and I need to eat. So, let's get that Molt Tender. Get the Hound. We're just going to do this till we win, basically, at this point. Yeah, that's fine, and we'll get another creature gone here. I don't remember which one I was getting rid of, but... Oh, I pulled the wrong thing there. We'll just go ahead and attack our opponent here and win. So that one was a little sketchy. Had to do some math there, and I kind of messed up a little bit, but it was fine. I could have kept eating if I needed to. I just didn't need to. And I could have gone above and beyond if I really wanted to make sure that they didn't have some kind of combat trick. But they were totally tapped out. I didn't need to pay any attention to Liliana, and both of these were tapped too, so any amount of attacking was going to win. Like I said, I could have been at more than 1 life. Could have dealt more than 5 damage, but either way, another pretty good match and a good representation. Like I said, I don't know why we're getting all these discard matchups right now, but this deck is fantastic against discard. So if that's something you run into or are really frustrated by, this thing is just great for it. Alright, we get to go first. No black means I mulligan. Okay, this looks fine. Let's go ahead and just pitch this. Don't mind it too much. We don't have any turn 1 plays, so let's just go forest. We are going to need blue for a lot of this. Okay, we'll go here. Let's go for cash grab, see what we can get. In this case, I'm going to take Dark Slick so that we got the blue we need. Looks like we're up against Angels, shockingly. That's interesting. Alright. We do have a Cauldron now, which is interesting. Let's try the Archaeologist and see if we can hit a Roots. No Roots, but we did get a Tyvar, which is pretty nice. Got more land, that sucks. Go ahead and get the Soul Cauldron out there. And pass. If we need to pump up our Skimmer as a blocker or something, we'll be able to. Waiting until their turn to do it is helpful. Let's go ahead and eat one of these oozes. If we waited until after his ooze was on the battlefield, it would be less advantageous for us. Okay, what do we want to do here? I think I'm going to go Wastes. Let's go ahead and go Tyvar.
This will make a thrilling
It'd be unfortunate if we hit a Roots now, but it looks like we're okay. There's the Roots we needed, so I'm feeling pretty fantastic now. We're going to go ahead and just need a land for this one. If he wants to eat this with... oh, well, he can't anyway, so that's fine. So we're looking pretty fantastic now, in my opinion. Let us go ahead and make this bigger with this ability. We don't have too many things in the graveyard, but we can go ahead and eat them now. That way they can't be grabbed by his ooze. And we win! So, at least we got to go up against something other than discard here, and you can see again, like I said, this deck is fantastic. We drew a lot of lands, surprisingly, but as long as you put a little bit of thought into your plays, like, we just have infinite mana with these things, and I ate all of my creatures from my graveyard to prevent his ooze from being able to do so while he's tapped out. So, 6/6 flyer probably was going to be blocked, but at the same time, it's a 6/6 flyer, so, I mean, that's pretty useful. And then we've also got some blockers and stuff, but we were going to be able to overrun really hard in the next few turns as long as we kept getting useful hits. Though, I mean, things like our Tyvar were going to be vulnerable. They didn't necessarily need to quit, but we do also still have mill on all of these because I was able to get my Molt Tender here. With Scavenging Ooze and Molt Tender here, that makes all of these able to do their abilities, like I said in the breakdown. So, really fantastic games in my opinion. This deck is a beast, and I highly recommend it. It's been one of my favorites that I've built so far in this Tarkir Dragonstorm set. So, hopefully you guys liked it, and thank you for joining me.